start the action. And I think that's got it. Oh, present. Present screen. And that should present my screen, and y'all should be able to see my handy dandy do-jigger. Okay. All right. I got about 3 problems to go over. These are difference quotient. And what I will be doing is the next couple of meetings, I will be transitioning over from the difference quotient to the derivative. After I've made that transition, then I'm going to hit heavy the 4 or 5 laws, the basic 4 laws of derivatives. The power rule is first law. That's the basic. That's 1. Then I'm going to jump into the product rule, the quotient rule, and the chain rule. And those are the 4 basic operations, 4 basic rules of derivatives. And I'm going to hammer them, and I'm going to hammer them, and I'm going to hammer them. Okay? So with that being said, the first question we got is f of x, and this is with the difference quotient. F of x is equal to 1 over x. And A, I want you to find the derivative using definition of a derivative. Sorry. And B, that's going to give you the slope, of course. Okay. And B, I want you to give me the equation. Find an equation at -5, comma, -1/5. Now, most of your questions in your homework and your test will ask you to do this type of steps. They will give you a function. They will tell you to find the derivative in some form. We did limits the other day, yesterday. Today we're doing difference quotient by the definition of a derivative. And then they ask you to find an equation. So this template is going to be used a lot in some of your homework questions. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is find the derivative. So that means that I've got to plug in, let me do my difference quotient, m, or whatever limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x over h. And I'm going to take my handy dandy orange and green, verde, and como se dice español orange? Anybody knows? How do you say orange in español? I know lemon. I know yellow is amarillo.
Isn't it? I know.
It's naranja.
There you go.
Yeah, naranja. It's naranja.
Naranja.
I'm pretty sure.
Naranja. So
No, I
verde,
thought
all right, so here we go. I'm going to take my verde, and I'm going to do 1 over parentheses. And of course, that's going to be x plus h. And then minus, I gotta get rid of this purple, 1 over x over h. Now, of course, the first thing y'all gonna do is spaz out and probably quit, because why? These are rational functions. And since most of y'all suck at algebra, you would probably suck at this, right? Yes or no? So I'm going to multiply both the top and the bottom by x times x plus h over 1 over x times x plus h over 1. I'm multiplying by the common denominator. And if you want to get hinky about it, that's a 1 right there. There you go. So get the common denominator of all three and clear the fraction. So that's what we're fixing to do. So I'm going to kind of fold this in half so we can still look at it. And that's going to give me x times x plus h over x plus h, which leaves me with what? X. And that's in my green brackets. Minus things I do for y'all. Well, what's x times x plus h over x? X plus h. All over hx times x plus h. All right, who's got questions? That's called complex rational expression. How to simplify a complex rational expression. You multiply by the common denominator over the common denominator. And you should have seen that maybe the third or fourth 9 weeks, or the third or fourth semester, I mean, the third or fourth quarter of whatever Algebra 2 Math of 102 that you've had. You should have seen that. Okay, so we've got x, and then we're going to distribute that negative, because this is a thing right here that's going to get you. That one right there is going to get you. So we're going to get x minus x minus h over h x x plus h. And then what happens to the x's? They go out. And the h's go out. And that leaves us with limit as h approaches 0 of negative, let's see, it should be -1. -1 over, you could distribute that, but I'm not, because I'm going to do x times x plus 0. And that gives us x times x, which is negative, should be a positive. Did I drop a sign somewhere? I'm looking to see if I dropped a sign somewhere.
It'd have to be on the previous page.
Looks like -1 over x squared. If anybody sees where I might have dropped, I don't think I did. Maybe my notes are wrong. -1 over x squared. So that is our slope, our equation for our slope. So m is equal to -1 over x squared. Now, part B says find an equation of -5 and -1/5. Now watch carefully, because there's two parts to this. One, you got to find your slope. Slope at x is equal to -5 is equal to -1 over -5 quantity squared, which is -1 over 25. So at this point, m is equal to negative 1 over 25. Now that you got a point and a slope, you're going to use the point-slope equation. Y minus a negative 1/5 is equal to negative 1 over 25 times x minus a negative 5. Sorry, right over in there. Y plus 1/5 is equal to negative 1 over 25 x plus 5. And that's going to give us y plus 1/5 is equal to negative 1/25 x plus be a minus 5 over 25 is 1/5, right? And y is equal to negative 1 over 25x minus 2/5. Question. Again, there's 3 parts. There is first part. There is plug and chug into the difference quotient. The second part is after you find the equation for the slope, you find the slope. And then after you find the slope, you plug it into the point-slope equation. It's very important that you understand that this is a very, very familiar template in this section. So be prepared that you're going to find that equation using the point-slope equation. And this is like Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. All right, so let's do a nerd. I gotta get another black pen. I gotta use black for problems. So f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 4x minus 3. And they want you to find an equation of a line at the point -1, -5. So I'm going to give y'all a minute or two to work on this one, get it started, or you can finish it, knock yourself out. 3:51, give y'all a couple of minutes. Oh, and I would, on these couple of problems, I would turn my paper landscape if I was you. Unless you write very small.
I enjoy killing a tree for every problem.
There you go. At least you can impress your friends. Now you're going to get a lot of problems in 3.2, but 3.2 is pretty much the beginning of 80% of your Unit 2 test. Okay? So if I was to tell you where you need to start paying attention, is today. Because 3.2 is to show you how you can appreciate the calculus, because the calculus saves you a whole bunch of backside algebra. You still have to do algebra in calculus, but the calculus prevents you from having to do more algebra. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in green. And I'm going to rewrite 2 parentheses squared plus 4 times parentheses minus 3. And then I'm going to put the minus symbol in red. And then I'm going to put just the function right there. 2x squared plus 4x minus 3. And all that is over h. And I'm going to plug in with pink. I'm going to plug in x plus h. Now that's the setup. Now you're going to do the algebra. So that's going to give us shortcut number 1 right here. And I'm going to skip a step. And y'all can skip steps because y'all are so good at algebra. We're going to go ahead and skip a step here. And I'm going to do 2x squared plus 2 times 2 is 4, right? 4xh plus 2h squared. Y'all check me there. Plus 4h x plus 4h minus 3. And I'm going to go ahead and skip another step and do minus 2x squared minus 4x plus 3. And all that is over h. Now at this point, if nothing cancels out, what do you say to yourself? I've done something wrong. Because most of the x terms are supposed to cancel here. So you might want to make a note of that. If you don't cancel anything out, then that means you suck. So 2x squared cancels with this 2x squared. 4x cancels with that 4x. And 3 cancels with that. Now, you're not going to take out, usually you take out 40 to 50% of your numerator, usually. There is extenuating circumstances and problems where you take out everything but one term. But most of the time, you're going to leave 20, 30% of the numerator intact. And that's usually the h terms, and you might have another number out there. Sometimes the 3's don't cancel, and you're left with a 3, or, you know, something may not cancel that you're used to seeing cancel. All right, so I'm going to rewrite it. Limit as h approaches 0. 4xh plus 2h squared plus 4h over h. Factor out an h. 4x plus 2h plus 4 over h. The h's cancel all the time? Yes. And that leaves you with your final setup. Limit as h approaches 0 of 4x plus 2h plus 4. And what does the 0, h approaching 0, what does that do to the h term? Takes it out. So the equation for your slope is 4x plus 4. Now you've just done the first part. Now I've got to go up here and I do the second part. So this is the first part. The second part, I'm just going to move this over here a little. Well, I can't. The second part is you've got 1, -1, comma, -5. And the slope equation is y equal to, or m equal to 4x plus 4. So here's part 2. Part 2 says I got to find my slope. M is equal to
What slope?
4 times -1 plus 4. And what's 4 times -1? Don't tell me they gave me a 0 for a...
They gave you a 0.
What?
They gave you a 0.
Sucks. M is equal to 0. 4, -4, plus 4. We still gonna go through and do it because I didn't want it 0, but they gave it to us. So M is equal to 0, which means it's a horizontal line, which means you don't have to do the next part, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Because you take that, whatever this is, and 85% of the time it's gonna be a number. So you take that number and do part 3. M is equal to 0, and the point is -1, -5. And now you plug it in. Y minus -5 is equal to 0 times x minus a -1. And I know I got several degrees. I know that 0 is going to take all that out. But the reason for me showing you this is because a lot of people on the homework and the test, when they see that, they see the function, and then they see find an equation starting at the point, blah, blah, blah. They don't know what to do. So that's why I'm showing you this. So y plus 5 is equal to 0 times x plus 1. Now, of course, 0 is going to turn, but if this was a 2, you would, do a 2x plus 2, and then bring the 5 over. So in this case, y is equal to -5. And that's going to be y is equal to -5. That's going to be a line, horizontal line going that way. So I'm sorry I picked a dud. That's a dud. I didn't mean for it to come out to be 0, but we'll do one here in just a second. It'll probably piss you off.
Made me have to double check my math 3 times.
Well, I don't like to do those, but evidently I picked one that I didn't know what the answer was. So now here's one that you might want to write extra small on. F of x is equal to 5 minus x cubed. And you're going to find out when you're doing these problems, anything over a square, you don't want. Why? Because it's more algebra. And what do y'all suck at? Algebra. So, and they want find an equation at 2, -3. Go ahead and start setting it up. Limit as h approaches 0. Minus f of x all over h. So I'm going to rewrite this 5 minus parentheses cubed 5 minus x cubed. And we're going to put the x plus h right here. And introduce you now to cluster. X plus h quantity cubed. So here's where you pretty much quit. Limit as h approaches 0 of 5 minus brackets x plus h quantity squared times x plus h to the first power minus 5 plus x cubed over h. So now you got to concentrate on that, which is not a big deal, except some people, you know, when they see that x plus h cubed, they think, oh, they either think two things. They either think shortcut number 4, which is not, or they just quit and don't do it. So limit as h approaches 0, 5 minus bracket. I'm not worried about those brackets. Why am I putting those brackets there? Because that negative right here is going to cause you all kind of pain if you don't watch it. You're going to do 90% of the problem right, and get 100% of it wrong because of that negative. I already took care of this negative, but that one's going to cause you pain also. X squared plus 2xh plus h squared times x plus h minus 5 plus x cubed all over h. So limit as h approaches 0 of 5 minus brackets x cubed plus 2x squared h plus xh squared plus x squared h plus 2x squared h, 2xh squared plus h cubed minus 5 plus x to the third over h. Limit as h approaches infinity or 0, 5 minus brackets x cubed. Okay, got a 2x squared and a 2x squared. That's 3x squared. 3x squared h. And then we got 1 plus 2xh squared. So that's going to be 3xh squared plus h cubed minus 5 plus x cubed all over h. So now we get to distribute that negative, and I'm going to fold this in half. And that's going to give us limit as h approaches 0 of 5 minus x cubed minus 3x squared h minus 3xh squared minus h cubed minus 5 plus x cubed all over h. And this tells us if we know what we're doing, because you got to get some of them to cancel. So the 5s cancel, and the x cubes cancel. Now, how do I know? There's two things that tell me that we're pretty good. One, I've gotten rid of all the x terms, just the x terms and the numerical terms. And this problem started out with how many terms? 2 terms. So chances are you're not going to have a lot of terms up here left because you only had 2 to begin with. So now I'm going to go ahead and skip a step, and I'm going to factor out that h when I rewrite this. So that's going to be h times negative 3x squared minus 3xh minus h squared over h. And the h's cancel. And that's going to give us, this term's going to go away. The 0, I'm going to highlight this 0 with a pink highlighter. And that's going to take that term out and that term. And our slope, the equation of our slope is equal to negative 3x squared. Now I want you to take the next couple of minutes and I want you to find the slope and the equation at 2 and negative 3. And negative 3. So m, the equation of our slope is equal to negative 3x squared, and our point is 2, negative 3. Okay, so I want y'all to finish the problem and find the slope. That's part 2, find the slope. And then part 3 is find the equation. Give y'all a minute or two. I want to ask y'all a question. Does anybody know what week we're in? Are we in the 4th or 5th week of school?
4th.
Does time even exist anymore?
How would you answer the following question? How do I know when tests are due?
The soothsayer will tell you.
How would y'all answer that question? I mean, we're 4 weeks into the semester, and I get a text message asking me, how do I know when homework and tests are due? Why don't you just hang a sign around your neck that says, I have not logged in to My Labs Plus? I mean, that's what you're telling the teacher. When you log in, when you email the teacher or text the teacher, and tell them and ask them, when is test homework due? You're telling the teacher that you have not logged on or not even looked at My Labs Plus. So
So then the response becomes easy. It's right in there next to the homework due date.
Well, yeah, but I didn't respond. So
Was it a text or an email?
it was a text.
You should have responded with like, "I'm sorry, this number is no longer available," or something like that.
New phone, who
It blows
dis?
my mind. It really blows my mind on how some of these students, and it's an online class, and some of these students that take an online class, they think, okay, I'll just get in there and I'll just ask the teacher everything. Well, I'm not that type of teacher, and we clash every semester. I get one or two students. Can you tell me when the homework's due? When are we supposed to be doing this? When are we supposed to be doing this? And of course, I don't answer because it says in the first couple of days, I don't answer questions that I have already went over. And then and then they call my boss, and my boss says, you haven't read the handouts, have you? It's funny. It's funny when they say that. And the student goes, well, no, I haven't read the handouts yet. And then my department head says, read the damn handouts. I think that's hilarious. Anyway, here we go. I just wondered how y'all would answer that. 2 squared.
I think you were too nice by not responding.
Oh, okay.
It's the
Negative
safest
3.
response.
It would be different if I just did the handouts, but I also go over the second day of class. I tell students, MyLabs Plus will tell you the dates.
You also say when you're updating the due dates in class.
4 equals -12. So our slope is -12. So now we go to part 3. Slope is equal to -12. And our point is 2, -3. Y minus -3 is equal to -12 times x minus 2. Y plus 3 is equal to -12x plus 24. Y is equal to -12x. What's 24 minus 3? And that is the equation of the line at 2, -3, using the slope that you found by finding the definition of a derivative. Now, those 3 questions that I just showed you are going to be test questions. I can guarantee. You're probably talking at least 3 or 4 questions on the test. Now, I probably will not go over a cube. Okay, if I do, it'll be just 1 question. And then the rest of them will be squares. I did 1, let's say I did 1x to the first power. Let's go over this so y'all don't fuss at me. Well, where's 1x power? Here it is. There's 1, and there's x to the first power, or x to the -1 power, whichever one you want to call it. And then I did x to the second power. And this is x to the third power. I will not go over x to the third power. Well, what if you do square root? Well, remember, I just showed you square root yesterday. If I give you a square root, then you have to use the limit because you don't know how to take the derivative of a square root yet. Okay, so that takes care of today's lesson. Where are we going? Now we're going in to the heart of, and I'm not going to spend, I've only got like, what, 3 minutes. Okay, but I'm going to tell you right now that 80% of your test is going to come from the next 3 or 4 sections that we're going to go over. And that is the power rule, the product rule, the quotient rule, and the chain rule. All of these rules make up the basic rules of derivatives. So you don't have to use the difference quotient. Let me give you an example. F of x is equal to 2x squared plus 4x minus 3. This is the problem we did a while ago. If I use the power rule of derivatives, then I'm going to 2 times 2 is 4. 2 minus 1 plus 1 times 4 is 4. 1 minus 1, and this is x to the 0. 0 times 3, 0 times 3, x to the 0 minus 1. And that gives me 4x plus 4. And if you go back to your problem that we did a while ago, what's the derivative of 2x minus 4x? So you just knocked out a whole page of algebra. And you only did it in a couple of lines. Whole page, couple of lines. Now I know there's one or two of y'all out there that likes that, because y'all like doing things what? The easy way. Okay? What if I have, and this is another example, I'm just showing you where we're going. That's the basic product rule. Here's another one. How about, this would be, this power rule. Product rule would be f of x is equal to x plus 1 times 2x plus 3. Now, you could do algebra here and do the power rule. Or you could do first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. 2x plus 2 plus 2x plus 3 is 4x plus 5. Now, if you did this by the difference quotient, you'd have to have 2 pages landscaped and put a piece of tape down the middle. And that's only 2 lines. So this is where we're going for the next couple of meetings of class. These are actually fun. They're fun to do. They're easy to do if you don't suck at algebra. Okay? So I thought I'd add that in there just to give y'all a little bit of discouragement. Some of y'all are finding out you know more algebra than you think by the time you get through with that homework and that test. Okay, who has questions for me, or gripes, or bitches, or complaints? Well, just forget about the, no, I don't want you to complain. Some of y'all never stop. Okay, no comments?
Nope.
All right, well, y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see y'all tomorrow if the creek don't rise and Tri-County doesn't have me in 2 or 3 more meetings. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Hey, this is Baker. I think I missed attendance, but I wanted to let you know I was here. I was like 5 minutes late.
Okay, let me go call up the attendance again.
I'm sorry.
You
I
suck.
missed it too.
Jen, the recording.
Hold on, let me undo the presentation so y'all don't like steal your whatever numbers they are.
Raza said he's here too. His mic isn't working.
Who?
Raza.
Oh, You and y'all's ratchet computers don't work. I'll forgive you this time.
Good.
All right, you say Miss Baker
Yes, sir.
and Mr. Raza.
And Bautista.
Sounds like a magician. Raza the Great. And who else?
Bautista.
Bautista, where you at, girl? Coming in late?
And Childress.
Oh my God. What?
And Luckner.
Oh my God.
Hey, you were late first.
Okay, I'm not. Oh yeah, blame it on the teacher. Did McCarthy? Who was it? Said Luckner's here.
Oh, yeah, I've been here the whole time.
Well, I called your name out and you didn't say here.
Oh, I thought you were recognizing I was here.
Who else? Somebody said their name.
Kirsten.
Bautista, there was one other guy.
Oh, and Brown.
Okay, Brown, that wasn't it though.
Luckner.
Luckner, I got Luckner, but it was right before Luckner.
Raza.
I got Raza.
Sutton.
Childress.
I can't remember who it was. All right, let me call the no's out and see if y'all are here. Bailey, Black, Childress, that's who it was. Childress, right?
Yes, sir.
There we go. All right, Green, Meadows, Sutton, and Townsend.
Sutton's here.
When did you show up?
At like 3:40. I got off work a little late.
Okay, well, your priorities are all messed up. Anyway, y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, hopefully the right time if nobody messes with it, okay? Oh, thanks a lot. You ever yawn so hard you get tired? Thank you, Miss Sterling. That makes me feel real good. Whatever. Everybody, y'all have a good day.
You have a good one.
I kind of figured that.
Another rich power track tomorrow.
I didn't see his official response. Lisa. Did you reply to Lisa? Okay. You think you did, or you knew you did?
I'm pretty sure I did. I think I did. What was your email about? Refresh my memory.
About having any receptions on the 30th and 31st, Saturday and Sunday. We didn't have any inbounds for rubber.
I don't think I did.
That's fine. Okay. I will get that.
Because I don't think I had any. I didn't have. Could have looked back, I guess, but I didn't.
Reply, there were no inbounds over the weekend.
That was for
5:30.
first quality.
No, Michelin River.
Oh. Damn, that was low. We didn't have any for Saturday and Sunday, did we? Not this past weekend?
No, we
Because
didn't.
we didn't have,
No,
yeah.
the sheets were empty.
yeah.
I only know that, and I can only verify that because I had to stare at it so hard for billing. I mean, I don't even have to look that up. I just.
Well, I looked at it because I thought, what's going on?
IDBS warehousing. Oh.
What is that?
This economic development.
Oh. Okay. Rich popcorn. Get my phone for rich popcorn.
I'll get to that in 2 seconds. We no longer own trucking assets, but we are partnered with a number of local and national carriers and brokers that can fulfill the need. Always send bullshit to the county, right? There you go. Please box truck the following items to us tomorrow.
I got that.
Yeah, that's it.
I know, but now I'm talking about inbound. We have another.
Container, yes, we have another container in the morning, yes.
Okay.
I thought we were talking about half pound. Like, yeah, no, I mean, you replied to it. Come on now.
Yeah. I already went out there and wrote on the boxes.
Yeah.
What they're gonna pick, but
D-
yeah, I didn't know what we were doing